So if you have postnasal drip, you know exactly what that icky, sticky, gross feeling is in the back of your throat. I had it for so many years. I would go to the doctor probably 2 or 3 times a year to ask about it, what I could do about it, only to be told that there's nothing they can do about it. This can be very beneficial for postnasal drip if you do it the right way. What I'm going to share with you today will help soothe it immediately. I'm not just saying that. There's an Ayurvedic practice that prevents postnasal drip. So the first thing you need to do I'm going to go over the 8 main reasons why you're experiencing postnasal drip, because this will help you understand why your body's producing too much mucus, and then you can make some simple changes, whether it's to your lifestyle or to your diet, to help reduce the mucus. So number 1, you're eating cold food. From an Ayurvedic perspective, and many traditional cultures believe this too, cold food is hard to digest. It weakens your digestive fire. When you do eat cold food, your body has to work so hard to digest that food. First, it has to warm it up, then it takes a lot of available energy to digest this food. And typically it just does not digest very well. So what happens, what's the result? Digestive toxins are formed. And in Ayurveda, this is called ama. Ama is basically like this sticky, sludgy mess in your intestines. And it starts to accumulate, and then it starts to ferment. So now we're experiencing bloating and gas. And a lot of women who experience bloating and gas after they eat, or they're very tired after they eat, they have postnasal drip. Number 2, you're drinking cold water instead of warm or hot water. When you think about when you're sick and you've got a lot of mucus going on in your body, are we told to drink cold water? No, we're told to drink warm liquids, teas, and hot soup. This is because hot water, hot food dilutes the mucus. It makes it thinner. And if you have postnasal drip, the mucus can get very thick. I've had some women come into my program and they tell me there literally is a ball of mucus in their throat that they have to cough up every day. And if they don't, just the thought of swallowing it just makes them so nauseous, and it does make them nauseous. You never ever want to swallow that mucus because it's full of toxins. And one of the best ways to keep the mucus thin so you can blow your nose instead of it just gathering in your throat is to drink warm to hot liquids. The third reason, this isn't as obvious, and I remember hearing this thinking that makes no sense because I used to eat a lot of leftovers. In Ayurveda, leftovers are considered hard to digest. I used to eat so many leftovers. I used to batch cook and put it all in the fridge and freeze it in little Ziploc bags and containers. I thought that was the best thing to do for my health. However, when I came onto this Ayurvedic path, I learned that leftovers are harder to digest and they create more ama. The longest living cultures in the world, they do not eat leftovers. They actually know intuitively that leftovers are harder to digest. Now, this is not about being perfect. It doesn't mean you can never eat leftovers, but what I'm sharing with you is the reason why you might have postnasal drip and even digestive issues. Once I started reducing the leftovers and started eating more freshly prepared food, it really did make a difference. Number 4, this one is obvious. Most people know that excessive amounts of dairy cause a lot of congestion and sinus congestion. The protein in dairy is very hard to digest for some. Now, I know our culture has this love affair with dairy, but your body does not have this love affair with dairy. It's hard to digest, it's congesting, and a lot of people can't even digest it and they continue to consume it. Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's not like you can never have dairy again. But knowing that dairy is contributing to that mucus dripping down the back of your throat, there are other options out there that are better. The next one is about using nasal sprays. Now, I know there's a lot of over-the-counter nasal sprays for postnasal drip. These nasal sprays claim to be able to fix your postnasal drip. However, maybe you'll get some immediate relief, but in the long term, they're making it worse because now your body, your nasal cavities especially, do not know how much mucus to produce because you're constantly spraying this stuff up your nose. And that leads me to the next one, is overusing a neti pot. Let me grab, for those of you who don't know what a neti pot is, it's this. It's an Ayurvedic practice to clean the nasal passages. Now, this can be very beneficial for postnasal drip if you do it the right way. And stick around to the end because I'll share with you, if you are using a neti pot, this is what you have to do immediately after. So overusing a neti pot will dry things out. We all know in a neti pot, it's salt water that goes in here. So it's a specific amount of salt and filtered water. Remember, if you are using a neti pot, never use tap water. It has to be filtered water. So people who overuse the use of a neti pot, their body is going to produce more mucus to soothe the dryness from the salt water. The next one, I'm sorry if you're a mouth breather, but mouth breathing comes with so many complications. Not just postnasal drip, mouth breathers have trouble sleeping, maintaining a healthy weight, and also balancing their nervous system. When you breathe through your mouth, you're triggering the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight. The example always given is you look at babies. When babies are relaxed and calm, their mouth is closed. They breathe in through their nose and out through their nose. You see their big belly movements of breath, belly breathing. When they're upset, their mouth is open. And similar things happen with animals as well. However, on the opposite, when you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, nasal breathing is one of the best things that you can train your body to do for good health. So how does mouth breathing relate to postnasal drip? We are supposed to breathe in through our nose and out through our nose. You have all these filters in your nose. They will filter out things that aren't supposed to come into your body. However, when you're a mouth breather, there's no filter in the back of your mouth. You're just inhaling whatever's coming at you and it's going in. And a lot of things in the air, whether it's environmental pollutants or dust or whatever it is causing your body to react almost like an inflammatory response to the air coming in. If it's not filtered in the nose, your body will produce more mucus. And the last thing I want to talk about that makes postnasal drip worse is excessive amounts of sugar. We all know this. Sugar is inflammatory. It's not good for our body. And when we eat sugary things, especially if it's paired with processed foods like snacky foods and cakes and candy and all of that, our body will become more inflamed. And remember, one of the main reasons why your body's producing more mucus is to soothe the inflammation. So reducing the amount of sugar that you eat in a day, a week, a month, whatever it is, will do wonders for reducing that mucus in your body. All right, let's get into the things that actually help reduce postnasal drip. And for some of you, it will just eliminate it entirely. One of my most popular posts on Instagram and Facebook is about postnasal drip. Comment after comment after comment is saying, oh my gosh, this actually works. So remember, stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you that tip that I shared on social media. No surprise, one of the best things that you can do to reduce postnasal drip is drinking warm water and eating warm food. Remember, I talked about the disadvantages and the result of eating cold food and drinking cold water. We're producing a lot of digestive toxins when we do this. So on the flip side, eating warm water and drinking warm water and teas throughout the day will help keep that mucus thinner, and it will also help from it even starting in the first place. And the next thing is to start using turmeric in your cooking. Turmeric is one of the most studied herbs out there, and it is the queen of anti-inflammatory spices. There are so many studies. So when you combine ground turmeric or fresh, I prefer ground turmeric just because it's easier to use, a little bit of black pepper to help absorb the nutrients in turmeric, and it's paired with a little bit, you don't even need that much, a healthy fat. It will reduce the inflammation in your body. It's great for joint pain. It's great for reducing inflammation. It's great for your skin. Now, if you don't like cooking with turmeric, you don't want your food to be yellow, or maybe other people that you're cooking for don't like turmeric, you can just put a 1/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric in a little glass, a little bit of warm water, a little bit of pepper, and you can add just a little splash of olive oil or coconut oil. Down it goes. You can just do that right before your meal. I know I always say don't drink anything right before your meal, 30 minutes before your meal, but just a little bit like that. They call them turmeric shots. I prefer to use it in cooking, but I do understand that not everyone wants to have yellow food. The next spice that I always recommend to reduce postnasal drip is ginger, fresh ginger, not dried ginger. Here's the reason why you don't want to use dry ginger. When we use dry ginger, in Ayurveda, dry ginger is very heating, it's very hot. So when we take that, then your body's going to produce mucus to soothe that hot, dry quality of dry ginger. Fresh ginger, on the other hand, doesn't do that. Fresh ginger is so good at improving your digestion. Your digestive enzymes love fresh ginger. So we talked about mouth breathing. So pretty obvious. On the flip side, nose breathing. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose is one of the best ways to reduce postnasal drip. And another bonus of nasal breathing is it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest system. That means you're going to digest your food better. You're going to feel less anxious. You're just going to feel more calm and at ease. Well, I know if you've made it to this point in the video, you are dying to know what is this Ayurvedic hack for postnasal drip. It's called Nasya, N-A-S-Y-A, Nasya. I had no idea what it was when I started learning about this, but I was willing to try anything, literally anything. It was so uncomfortable, the postnasal drip. And it's a very easy practice. So the first thing you need to do, you do this in the morning, but you can do it up to 4 times a day. So you can do it morning, mid-morning, afternoon, and dinner. The only times you don't want to do it are right before bed and right before or right after you eat. So typically, most people will just do it once or twice a day, but I have had women where the postnasal drip is so intense because they work in a very dry office environment. The air quality is so poor. They do it up to 4 times a day and they say it makes all the difference. So what I'm going to show you here, there's 2 options. In this bottle is unrefined organic sesame oil. You don't want to use the toasted one. You're just going to smell like a stir fry. You want to use unrefined organic sesame oil. And the other option is you can use ghee. So this is how you do it. In the morning, you're going to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. You want them to be very clean. I'm just going to show you the example of the sesame oil. You're going to put a few drops of sesame oil into the palm of your hand, clean hand. You're going to take your clean pinky finger. You notice how many times I'm saying clean, right? You're going to dip your pinky finger into the oil, and then you are going to massage. I know it looks like I'm going to pick my nose, but you're going to massage all the way up, as far up as comfortable. Come back down, get some more oil, and all the way up as well. And then you're going to do a sharp inhale like this. What this does, this is so amazing what it does, is it tricks your body into thinking it doesn't need to produce so much mucus. Your nasal passages are moist, they're oily, so it stops the production of mucus pretty quickly. Here's a different way of doing it. You can put a few drops of oil again, take your pinky finger, up you go 1 nostril, really massage on all the sides, close this side. So you do 1 at a time, come back down, do the other side, close this nostril. It is wonderful. Now, the bonus of doing this is people who do Nasya every day get sick less. Why is that? You're adding a protective layer of oil in your nose. It's protecting you from things landing inside of your nose. Now in Ayurveda, ghee is also traditionally used for Nasya. It's very cooling. So if you have a lot of inflammation and you're someone who experiences a lot of heat-related conditions like hot flashes, inflammatory skin issues like rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, maybe you've got a lot of inflammatory joint pain, night sweats. These are all inflammatory heat-related conditions. Ghee can work wonders. Now, I know not everyone has ghee in their cupboard, but if you do, the same. The ghee will melt very quickly in the palm of your hand, so you just put some ghee in there. Make sure it's a separate jar. It's not something you're using for cooking. Leave a little jar in your bathroom. Again, up you go, and then the other side. This is wonderful. Now, in Ayurveda, this Nasya treatment is also used for anxiety. How can this even be related to anxiety? Well, the nose is the gateway to the brain. And when we take care of our nasal passages in our nose, it affects our brain. And this has always been used to treat anxiety. There's multiple ways that we treat anxiety in Ayurveda, but doing Nasya is one of the daily routines that will help. So let's finish off talking about the neti pot. The neti pot can do wonders because it's rinsing out the mucus out of your nasal cavities. You can sometimes feel it down the back of your throat. It can really help. However, you need to do Nasya right after. If you only use the neti pot day in and day out, you're going to dry out those passages. So feel free to use the neti pot as long as you know how to safely use it. Remember, never use tap water. You can Google exactly how much salt to use for the size of your neti pot. Right after you've done your neti pot, make sure you oil your nose. This will make the combination of neti pot and Nasya a really good approach to reducing postnasal drip. All right, beautiful ones, I hope you enjoyed listening to this very different approach to reducing postnasal drip. As always, please subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment below of what topic you would love for me to cover next. Your feedback directly shapes the future of this channel. Have a beautiful day. Much love.